All right, how you doing? It's Tim Bivens, of course, and this is SGD 113. Today I'm going to rapidly go through the TextField assignment that I posted for this week, and you will create a TextField project. This will create a list and add to that list when the button is pressed. The UI text will display the contents of the text field when pressed. Create a WebGL player including C# files. I will update this description because what this actually has to do is you're going to create a list, right? And you're going to continually add to that list when you click the button, and then loop through the list to display the list. All right, so let's get started. Here's my Unity Hub. I'm going to create a new project. All right. Call this last name, first initial, text field. Sorry, 2D's fine. All right. We'll put it here, say 09 text field. All right, select that. Create. Pause while it creates. All right, you can hear the cars outside and the birds chirping. And we have our project open now, so we're going to create our file here, right? So we're going to create a folder, for our scripts, right? Open that up, and we'll call this Game Manager since we're going to be a good game programming steward, right? C# script, Game Manager. And we'll create an empty game object up here just for the fun of it. And create empty. And we'll call that Game Manager, right? Alright, so, well, this is for our text field anyway. So we're going to open that up in C# project. Remember, this is the correct way to open your projects. Don't open them other ways because it may not work right. Alright? And I'll pause while that opens. I don't want to update Visual Studio now. I'm going to open up the scripts folder over here. Open up Game Manager. All right, here we go. All right, so what do we do now? Right, so first I'll save that, and I'll switch back to here to look at the create the text field object project. All right, I will update this soon. All right. But what we need to do is, so we need a text field and a button, right? So let's go to Unity and do that real quick. All right, so UI input field. I keep calling it a text field. They call it input field, so I should probably call it that myself. However, I have not been calling it that. All right, so, and I'm going to lock this up. So hold down Option or Alt and click the top left corner there, and then Game Object UI button, and same thing, Option or Alt, top right corner. All right. Now I'm going to create a text object that's going to cover most of the rest of the screen. Alright, so we go up here, UI, text, and so I'm going to anchor it to bottom center like this. So I'm going to hold out Option Alt bottom center, but then I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to make sure I don't cover my button or my text field, because if it does, it won't work correctly, right? And I'll call this output text, like that. In fact, to make sure it works like I want it to, I'm going to put it on top, which in Unity terms is on bottom in the layering system. It's kind of opposite of Photoshop. All right, so I'm also going to go to the main camera. I'm going to change the background color to black. I am going to, once again, change my output text to green, because it's kind of old school console colors, right? And I'm going to change the font size to 28. Horizontal, I will wrap in this case, and overflow, vertical, I'm going to overflow. All right. Let's place the game manager on the game manager script on the game manager object. All right. Now we're ready to code, right? We've got everything set up here. Let's go code, right? So what do we need? Well, first off, we're going to be accessing UI elements. So we need to say using Unity engine.ui, right? That. Note that using system collections and collections generic is already included, which we will need to use the list, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a list that we're going to fill up as we type, right? So we're going to say public list string word list or something, I don't know, equals new list string parentheses. Just kind of commit this syntax to mind, right? Because you'll be using it a lot. All right. All right, so we want to create a function that's going to control our button, and the button's going to add stuff to the list, right? So, so we're going to say public void handle button click. We will need a reference. I need a reference to the input field so that I can pull stuff out of it. So I'm going to say public input field my input. All right. Now that I have that, right, I can go in here. Every time I click, well, let's go ahead and create a stub function, which means I'm just going to put a debug log in here that says, hey, I'm clicking this button. All right. I always like to test to make sure the button's clicking and everything before I go off and do a bunch of other fancy coding. All right, so let's do this right now. Let's come in here and at this point, if we go to the console, click run. No, it's not going to do anything because I haven't connected the button. So we need to go to the button here, right here, and you'll see where it says on click list is empty. You need to click that. All right, and then we need to you'll see where it says none object. We need the object to which the script is attached to where our function is, right? So we're going to click that, and the object to which it is attached to is the game manager, but it is in the scene and not in the assets folder, right? So we want to come up here and click scene and make sure we get this game manager that has the little block, okay? Make sure it has that block and not this one down here. Where is it? There it is right there. You don't want that one with the little gear. You want this one right here, right? All right. Once you have that, then you're going to click on where it says no function and then go down to game manager, which that's the script we just created, and then you should find handle button click right there, right? Now we've told Unity that when we click the button, we want to call that function, all right? That's all we've done. So let's click run here, and we'll get cranking. All right, so now you should just see when I click the button that, you know, handle button click is being clicked. That's good, right? So now all we need to do is we need to pull whatever, when we click the button, we pull whatever is in the input field out, and we put it in the list, right? So here, we're right here, right? So when we click the button, we're going to say word list add my input dot text. And that's all there is to it, right? Well, that adds to the list, right? So we'll see that in a second. So let's go ahead and we'll run that too, right? And what you'll see here, if I click on the game manager, all right, so that's the main camera. Game manager, there's a word list, it's empty, right? We'll come in here and we'll say Tim, button, right? Up. Ooh, I didn't set something up. All right. The input field is not set up. So on the game manager, note the input field is not set up. So when you call it, you get this what's called a null reference exception. That means you're referring to something that's not there, which is null. Null means null and void, right? There's nothing there, right? So we need to connect that to our input field like that, right? And now when we run it, this won't print anything to the screen yet, right? What this will do is, add things to our list over here, right? So, right, Bob, not that, right? There we go. All right, so you see your list is being added to. Now all we have to do is now we have to loop. This is the whole purpose of this exercise, is to loop through this list and print everything to the screen, right? One thing I want to do when I start, I'm first going to say, oh, we don't have an output text yet. So we need public text, output text, right? And then here, I'm going to set this to, I like doing it this way because it's a programmatic way of keeping your screen clean. And it doesn't, the other way is to come in here and to set that to the null string in the inspector, but then you can't see where the placeholder is, and I like to be able to see that. All right, so I set, at the start of it, I'm going to set that to null, right? And then in here, I am going to do what's necessary. First, I'm going to actually set it to null because I want it to go through the list every time, and I don't want to keep adding to it, right? So equals null, right? And then so I'm going to say for each string word in word list, word list. All right, so for each word in word list, we're going to say, actually, we're going to use this right here, right? We're going to add to the, that's incorrect. All right, so we want to add it up here, actually. Yes, all right. So we're going to clear the string. We're going to add this to our list, and then we're going to iterate through the list. All right, so now we're going to say output text dot text equals plus equals word plus, and we'll put a line break in there. All right. So we're creating the output text by cycling through the whole list. All right. If you do it the way we did it, you'll note that this looks very similar to the project we did a couple weeks ago, and it will, at the end result looks the same, but what you're doing behind the scenes is very important. And if you don't use this loop, you won't get full credit. Do you understand? Everybody hear that? If you don't use the loop, you don't get full credit. All right, cool. All right, so here we go. But this should work. I'm holding my breath. All right, so make sure, yeah, output text is set up. It's not. There we go. And then we're going to run it. Note that, you know, it did clear out our, this cleared out our output text. That's right. And we'll say Bob, right? Put button, Bob works, right? And then we'll say Tim, awesome, Jerry, all right. And you just keep Sarah, all right. And that's really all there is to it. So at this point, you would build your project, create a WebGL build of it, put this code, this game manager script in the build folder when you're done, zip it up and send it to me, and that's all she wrote. But like I said, make sure that you use this loop, right? And don't just concatenate onto output text. Note that I am concatenated on output text here, but not, I'm also clearing the output text every time I click click the button, right? I clear it and then add on to the list and then cycle through the list every time, right? So this loop is running every time I do this. So that makes it different than what we did before. All right. Email me with issues, questions, and I'll be glad to answer them. All right. Y'all have a good one.